Good day, everyone. My lecture will be on data needed for monitoring and crafting local policies related to environment and natural resources. I have outlined my lecture into 3 parts. The first will be on the mandates of local government units on environmental management. The second part will be on the primary laws on such environmental management mandates. And the third will be on the data needed to enable local government units to monitor the existing local environmental policies, to improve on these policies, or to develop new ones. Now, on the first part, on the mandates of local government units, we all know that local governments serve as a foundation of the entire government structure. They are the frontline agency to whom local communities turn to for assistance and are directly involved in providing basic services. Consistent with the constitutional policy on local autonomy, the Local Government Code was passed in 1991. The Local Government Code provided for the devolution of some environmental and natural resource management functions from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources to the local government units. Specifically, this involved forest land use planning, coastal and fisheries resource management, regulation of small-scale mining and quarrying, pollution and waste management, biodiversity conservation, and protected area management. The Local Government Code mandates LGUs to prepare a comprehensive land use plan mandated or enacted through a zoning ordinance. Likewise, the Local Government Code mandates LGUs to prepare a comprehensive multisectoral development plan and public investment programs. The Comprehensive Land Use Plan serves as the LGU's plan for the long-term management of its local territory and is the framework of its physical development. Through the CLUP, the LGU identifies areas where development can and cannot be located and guides the direction of public and private investments. Under the General Welfare Clause of the Local Government Code, LGUs can enact ordinances to conserve their natural resources and protect the environment. The passage of such ordinances is likewise considered an exercise of police power. The Local Government Code also introduced the consultation mechanism as part of its environmental governance mandate. The Local Government Code provides for the establishment of an Environment and Natural Resource Office in every province, city, or municipality, which shall be headed by an Environment and Natural Resource Officer appointed by the local chief executive. Now, let's proceed and go to the next part of my lecture on LGU's mandates under existing environmental laws and policies. On forest land use planning, local government units are required to prepare forest land use plans and to incorporate these plans in their comprehensive land use plans. The Executive Order 318 provides for this. To further implement this executive order, the DNR and the Department of Interior and Local Government issued 2 memorandum circulars which provided for the technical aspects of the interagency partnership. These include the identification and delineation of forest lands, as well as the conduct of transparent, accountable, and participatory forest land use planning processes for every LGU. And the LGUs play a critical role in this process. In the area of coastal resource management and fisheries management, the Local Government Code and the amended Fisheries Code give primary management responsibilities to local government units. LGUs are empowered to enact ordinances and enforce all fishery laws and regulations within their municipal waters. Such ordinances can establish fishery sanctuaries and marine protected areas and barangay fisheries and aquatic resource management councils, as well as provide for the setting of catch ceiling limitations and area use allocation or zoning, licensing and revenue generation, and fisheries enforcement. On mining, provincial and city local government units have a role in the issuance of small-scale mining and quarry permits. The provincial and city mining regulatory boards include the governor and the mayor respectively. These boards recommend the issuance of small-scale mining and quarry permits, and the local chief executives issue these permits. On the approval of large-scale commercial mining and national infrastructure projects and other development projects such as reclamation, big roads, ports, and airports, the role of the local government units are critical in the implementation of the Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System. Their role, particularly on the approval of these projects, and this is where prior public consultations required in the local government code play an integral part of the environmental impact assessment process. Under the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act, LGUs have primary responsibility in the implementation of the law. They are required to establish a solid waste management program, establish a provincial or city municipal solid waste management board, and pass local legislation to implement the law in their area. The segregation and collection of solid waste shall be conducted at the barangay level specifically for biodegradable, compostable, and reusable waste, while the collection of non-recyclable materials and special waste shall be the responsibility of the municipality or city. On the implementation of the Philippine Clean Air Act, local government units are responsible for enforcing the anti-smoking provision. LGUs share the responsibility with the DNR and other agencies in the management and maintenance of air quality within their territorial jurisdiction. With the assistance of the DNR, LGUs shall also help in the formulation and implementation of an integrated air quality improvement framework, which provides for a comprehensive air pollution management and control program and consequently prepare an action plan. LGU shall help in the designation of airsheds and shall be part of the governing boards of such airsheds. They will be part of the multipartite monitoring team which will conduct periodic inspections of air pollution sources to assess compliance with emission limitations contained in their permits. LGUs may be deputized by the Department of Transportation and Communication in the inspection and monitoring of emissions of motor vehicles. And the NROs, or the Environmental and Natural Resource Officers, have several powers and duties to implement the Clean Air Act, including the preparation of a comprehensive air quality management program and also strategies. Now, with regard to the Clean Water Act, LGU shared the responsibility with the DNR and other agencies in the management and improvement of water quality within their territorial jurisdiction, and also in the establishment of the Water Quality Management Area Action Plan, or WACMAS, Water Air Quality Management Area. So if you have airsheds in the Clean Air Act, you have WACMAS in the Clean Water Act. And in accordance with the WACMA plan, LGU shall prepare a compliance scheme subject to the review and approval of the governing board for each WACMA. The NROs, again, have several powers, including the monitoring of water quality, coordinating with other government agencies, civil society, and concerned sectors in the implementation of measures to prevent and control water pollution. On biodiversity conservation and protected area management, LGUs are part of the Protected Area Management Boards under the expanded National Integrated Protected Area System Law, or ENIPAS law. The PAMB shall oversee the management of the protected area, approve policies, plans, and programs, proposals, agreements, and other related documents for the management of the protected area. The PAMB also approves the management plan and ensures the harmonization of the management plan with a comprehensive land use plan and other development plans. With regard to the occupation by LGUs and communities of portions of the protected area, the expanded NIPAS law requires LGUs to give due consideration to biodiversity conservation and the objectives of the protected area in the development of their CLUPs and barangay development plans. And finally, with respect to the Climate Change Act, LGUs shall be the frontline agencies in the formulation, planning, and implementation of the climate change action plans in their respective areas. So they shall regularly update the action plans to reflect changing social, economic, and environmental conditions, as well as emerging issues. So these climate change action plans must be consistent with the provisions of the Local Government Code, the National Framework Strategy and Program on Climate Change, and the National Climate Change Action Plan. So similar to other laws, the LGUs have several responsibilities such as climate change adaptation, maximizing inter-LGU collaboration in the conduct of climate-related activities, and also ensuring allocation of funds for climate change action plan implementation. So we now come to the last and the final part of my lecture. This focuses on data needed for monitoring existing local environmental policies, improving these policies, or developing new policies. The Local Government Code, coupled with various environmental laws and policies, provide the local government units with an array of powers and responsibilities which result in the passage of ordinances and resolutions. To monitor existing ordinances, there will be data such as physical, demographic data, economic data, which are important. Other data like implementation of these ordinances and institutional related arrangements will also be useful. The data to be retrieved should respond to such questions as, one, you look into the CLUP, FLUP, CRM plans, and climate change action plans, and many other plans. And these are all articulated in the zoning ordinances. So on the implementation, the data should respond to questions like, has the ordinance or have these ordinances been disseminated adequately? So how are the information education activities? Have there been budgets for this IEC? Have the documentation results of this IEC have they been shared? Have they been monitored? Have they been tackled by key government personnel? Are the key stakeholders affected by the zones in the zoning ordinances informed of the salient features of the ordinance? How has the implementation been? Is there a monitoring system in place? Has there been compliance or more on non-compliance? What are the enforcement issues? If there have been violations, what has been the nature of these violations? Have complaints been filed? Have sanctions been imposed? Is there a budget for the implementation of these ordinances? Now, on physical and biogeographic data, it would be good to check on whether there have been surveys and physical assessments of the land resources, forest, coastal resources, biodiversity, and wildlife habitats. So are our upland forests, mangroves, watersheds in good shape? Are they expanding? Or is the deforestation rate increasing? What are the causes for this? What have been the results of vulnerability assessments? Have there been vulnerability assessments? Which barangays or areas continue to suffer from flooding or from El Nino? As we want to address open access issues, so there are legal instruments covering forest areas. What is the status of these legal instruments? Now, on solid waste, what has been the assessment of solid waste in the local government area? Are the biodegradable waste being managed in the household level or in the barangay level? Is there an increase in the residual waste? How about the medical and hazardous waste? Are they also increasing? On clean air, what has been the assessment of the air quality of the local government area? On clean water, what has been the assessment of water quality? On the economic data, which should be valuable, the key sources of livelihood in the local area, because we know that these zoning ordinances, which are based on several plans, would want to be the basis for the comprehensive development program and annual investment plan. So it would be good to have this information about on fishing. Has there been an increase in the income of fishers? When you talk about solid waste, are there existing businesses involved in recycling, composting, or solid waste management related livelihood activities or business ventures? On demographics, is the population in the local government area increasing? In what parts of the territory is there an increase in population? Is this due to in-migration? Let's talk about communities. How are the number of the fishers? Are they increasing? The number of farmers, okay, and other sectors like urban poor, okay, laborers, are they within the local territory or do they come from outside the local government area? Other data like for clean air, is there an increase in the number of vehicles? For fishery ordinances, is there an increase in the number of fishers, fishing boats, and gears? Data on pollutive businesses, and also data on good or best practices, whether it's on solid waste management, on managing a forest, on addressing clean air issues or clean water issues. Best practices or good practices are important to consider when we monitor these ordinances. Because when we need to improve them, definitely we want to take stock of all this data, of all these experiences. Okay. Crafting of an environmental code. This is an opportunity for local government unit to adopt a holistic management of its environment and natural resources within its territory. So in addition to the data that I've mentioned, and this you can refer to in the notes that you will be provided with, as well as my PowerPoint. There are three key data sets, okay, that will be important. First is on the biogeographical status and characteristics of the local government territory. Because while there's a lot of data in the CLUP, but you need to update this when you talk about crafting an environmental code. Okay, so all the data I've mentioned previously, they will all need to be updated, including economic data, physical data, demographic data, and other relevant information like even implementation and institutional arrangements. Okay, environmental issues, data on environmental issues will also be important. How is the enforcement? What do the monitoring reports say? Okay, are there resource use conflicts? Are they increasing? Are they resolved? And then the plans, because there are so many plans. The CLUP, which is supposed to integrate the FLUP, the Protected Area Management Plan, the Plan on Climate Change, or Local Climate Change Action Plan, the Solid Waste Management Plan, the plan in implementing the Water Air Quality Management Area, and also airsheds, and several other ordinances. And all of this data will be very important in the crafting of a comprehensive code, an environmental code for the local government unit. There are several references relating to my presentation, and they are in the notes that you'll be provided. Thank you for listening.